The first question that springs to my mind, given how well grocers in general have done during the coronavirus crisis with customers stockpiling and buying their essential goods, is why you have not raised your full-year outlook.
Yeah, I think you're completely correct. We had a very strong first quarter, both in sales and profitability, but also very strong online sales at the same time. But the outlook is quite uncertain for the remainder of the year. And in the first quarter, we had a lot of European sales and cost in the first quarter. But in the first quarter, we had a lot of U.S. sales, but not all the cost of the Corona crisis in the first quarter. And that's why we see a different balance in cost and sales in the second quarter. And that's why we, because of the uncertain outlook, we confirmed our guidance. But we also confirmed dividend, as you mentioned, the share buyback, the free cash flow, and also our capex expenditures of roughly 2.5 billion euros.
Interesting. It's interesting that you make the distinction between Europe and the US. In terms of the US then, if you are expecting perhaps some more costs to come through, and this week we look ahead to what could be an unimaginable jobs number with 21 million losses, Frans, how bad could it get on the cost front in the US?
Yeah, I think if we look at our own business, it's clear that we will see an economic downturn. I think that's both for US and for Europe. Our first priority is to take care of the health and safety of our associates and our customers. And you have seen that we have a lot of costs in our stores when we talk about PPE, when we talk about security. And we don't know how long Corona will keep us busy. So that's why we are very firm on we see more costs coming. The second thing is that we invest a lot in online and digital, the ramp up of that sales. And in the first quarter in the US, we had 42% increase in online sales. And we see also that that online sales will start growing further and will accelerate further into the US. We expect for the full year in the US 50% growth. And of course, it also comes with investments in OPEX and CAPEX.
Frans, what can you tell me about supply chain issues at the moment? Are you having difficulties getting hold of what you need globally?
Yeah, I think overall there is enough food in the system. In Europe, we are back to normal shelf availability numbers. In the US, we are a couple of weeks behind Europe because also Corona came later to the US than it came to Europe. I think in a couple of weeks we will in a much better shape in the US. Of course, in the US we all see that there are shortages on protein, and we all know that in poultry, pork, and beef we have some supply topics. And with the new Defense Act working, I think we will see a repair of that supply chain on the meat side. Furthermore, the normal things like sanitation products and the products like flour and eggs, all the baking products. But also in the US, there is enough food in the system.
Frans, are you making any changes to your supply chain in any way, making it more domestic or anything else?
In food, our supply chain is already very domestic, and we see a very good collaboration with our vendors, our supply chain partners, to simplify a number of things. And we see a number of things like SKU rationalization to make sure that to simplify production processes so that we have fuller shelves. And that collaboration is going extremely well and very pragmatically. Furthermore, we also try to ramp up our online sales and especially our click and collect services. And at the same time, due to some absenteeism we also hired in the US 20,000 people, and in our total network we hired 40,000 new associates.
Frans, sort of linked to the supply chain issue, of course, is what happens on the demand side as well in terms of customers stockpiling, both in the Europe and the US. What can you tell us about the trends there after the surge in stockpiling at the beginning of lockdowns?
Yeah, we see in Europe that demand gets more normalized, that we see still growth in the total system, because also in Europe, out-of-home restaurants are still on a very low level of economic activity. But we see in the US that, for example, the out-of-home market is much bigger compared to Europe. So we see there bigger effects on our sales numbers, and that's why also the start of the second quarter was strong in supermarket demand for us as well. And we all hope that restaurants are coming soon back into business. And in Europe, we see now that there is more relief and more release of lockdown measures by governments. So hopefully we can soon have a good meal also in restaurants again.
Frans, do you see any permanent changes to your business as a result of coronavirus?
Yeah, I think that we see, of course, customer behaviors changing. And I think a number of them will be quite sticky. So if we talk about further online demand, we believe that will stay there. And as a company, we are very well positioned for the combination of the stores and online, which we call omni-channel, both in the US and in Europe. The second thing, of course, is that customers are more aware about health, and therefore healthy solutions and healthy products for customers will also increase demand. And the other thing is that you see also that our customers are also looking more towards private label and having different options when we talk about value, when we talk about quality, and these kind of things. And the last thing is I think that the social distancing will keep us busy for a little bit longer than the second quarter. So that is a changing type of logistics in stores and changing type of customer behavior as well.